Welcome, gents. The most dangerous man is the one who observes in silence, moves with purpose, and answers to no one but himself. There's a reason why you don't fit in, why people misunderstand you, fear you, or try to control you. It's because you're not like them. You don't play by their rules, and you don't need their validation. That alone makes you a threat. Most men are predictable. They follow the crowd, seek approval, and fear stepping out of line. But you thrive in solitude. You think for yourself, move in silence, and refuse to be controlled. And that unsettles people. Because when a man can't be manipulated, he becomes unpredictable. And when he's unpredictable, he's dangerous. But understand this, your ability to detach, analyze, and remain calm under pressure isn't a weakness. It's your power. Society may label you cold, distant, or even intimidating, but that's because they don't understand you. They fear what they can't control. Being a Sigma male isn't about arrogance or rebellion, it's about mastery. Mastery of your emotions, your mind, and your path. And that makes you unstoppable. Stay sharp, stay aware, stay untouchable. Because the moment they realize they can't break you is the moment they start fearing you. Number one, they analyze you before you even speak. Most people listen just to reply. They wait for their turn to talk, formulating their response before you've even finished your sentence. But Sigma males, they listen to understand, and they do it so well that it's almost unnerving. Before you even open your mouth, they've already gathered more information about you than you realize. They notice the way you walk, the slight hesitation in your handshake, the tension in your shoulders. They pick up on micro-expressions, the flicker of doubt in your eyes, the subtle smirk that betrays a hidden agenda, the forced enthusiasm that screams insecurity. They don't just hear your words, they decode them. The pauses between sentences, the shift in your tone, the way your breathing changes when you're uncomfortable, none of it goes unnoticed. This ability makes conversations with a Sigma feel like an interrogation you didn't sign up for. Because while you're focused on what you're saying, they're focused on what you're not saying. This level of perception is what makes them so unpredictable. You can't manipulate someone who already knows your intentions. You can't hide weakness from someone who sees straight through your defense mechanisms. And you certainly can't intimidate someone who already knows what makes you tick. But here's what makes it even more terrifying. Sigma males don't expose what they know, they simply store it. They let people think they're unreadable while secretly reading everyone else like an open book. And when the time comes to act, they do so with precision, because they've already mapped out every possible move you might make. This is why people either respect or fear them. When you interact with a Sigma, you're not just having a conversation, you're being studied, dissected, and understood in ways you probably don't even understand yourself. And by the time you realize it, they've already decided exactly how to deal with you. Number two, they have a brutal self-cleansing process. Most people live with their flaws like unwanted guests. They make excuses, avoid self-reflection, and convince themselves that their weaknesses don't matter. But Sigma males, they don't tolerate anything that holds them back. If there's a flaw in their mindset, they crush it. If there's a weakness in their character, they rip it out at the root. This isn't self-improvement, it's self-destruction and reconstruction. A Sigma male's mind is his battlefield. He doesn't just accept his demons, he drags them into the light, examines them, and either conquers them or cuts them loose. No sugarcoating, no self-pity, no excuses. If a belief system is limiting him, he dismantles it. If an emotional pattern makes him vulnerable, he rewires it. This is why Sigmas seem so unshaken by life. They've already torn themselves apart and put themselves back together, stronger. This brutal self-cleansing isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing war. Every day they challenge their own assumptions. Every failure is analyzed. Every insecurity is confronted. They force themselves to evolve, no matter how painful it is. Because to a Sigma, stagnation is the real enemy. And here's what makes it terrifying. While most people are busy blaming external forces for their problems, Sigmas take full responsibility for everything. If they fail, they own it. If they feel weak, they fix it. No victim mentality, no dependency on others for growth, just pure, relentless self-mastery. This is why nothing can truly break a Sigma. He's already faced his worst fears in the mirror. He's already torn down his own illusions. He doesn't need external validation because he has already validated himself. And when you meet a man who has nothing left to hide from himself, who has already endured his own worst judgment, you realize there's nothing you can do to shake him. Number 3, they reprogram their own minds. Most people inherit their beliefs. They absorb opinions from family, society, and media without ever questioning them. They live by mental scripts they never wrote, following outdated ideas that limit them. But Sigma males, they don't just accept the programming, they rewrite it. To a Sigma, the mind is like a machine. If it runs on flawed code, it will produce flawed results. That's why they constantly strip their thinking down to its core, analyzing every belief, every assumption, and every pattern. If something doesn't serve them, they delete it. If something weakens them, they rewrite it. This ability to rebuild their own mindset is what makes them unshakable. They don't cling to comforting illusions. If a belief no longer makes sense, they discard it, no matter how deeply it was ingrained. If an old habit slows them down, they replace it with something better. They refuse to let past experiences define their future, and they refuse to let fear dictate their decisions. This is why Sigmas seem so unpredictable. While most people are stuck in repetitive thought loops, Sigmas are constantly upgrading. They think independently, free from the limitations that trap others. You can't manipulate them with guilt because they've removed the need for external validation. You can't pressure them with fear because they've reprogrammed their minds to see fear as fuel. And you can't control them with tradition because they only follow what works. And here's what makes it terrifying. Most people don't even realize they're trapped in their own outdated thinking. They live inside mental prisons they've never questioned. But a Sigma, he's torn down every mental wall, broken every chain, and built a mindset so resilient that nothing can shake it. A man who has mastered his own mind is a man who can't be controlled. And that's exactly why Sigmas are feared, respected, and impossible to break. Number 4, they can play dumb while outsmarting everyone. Most people feel the need to prove they're the smartest in the room. They interrupt, correct, or make sure everyone knows how much they understand. But Sigma males, they do something far more powerful. Sometimes they pretend not to understand at all. Playing dumb is one of the most underrated strategies, and a Sigma uses it masterfully. He lets people assume he's unaware, naive, or not paying attention, when in reality he's collecting information. He watches as people reveal more than they should, expose their real motives, and dig themselves into a hole without realizing it. While they're busy underestimating him, he's already 10 steps ahead. This tactic is especially deadly in social and professional settings. A manipulator might try to take advantage of a Sigma, thinking he's easy prey. A competitor might assume he's not a threat, revealing too much in the process. Even in personal relationships, people may believe they have control over him until they realize too late that he saw through them from the start. And when the moment is right, that's when the Sigma flips the script. He turns the situation to his advantage so smoothly that by the time people realize what happened, it's already too late. The ones who tried to outplay him end up outplayed. The ones who thought they were in control suddenly find themselves powerless. The ones who assumed he was oblivious now see that he was orchestrating the entire thing from the beginning. This ability terrifies people because it exposes how easily they can be fooled by their own arrogance. Most people assume intelligence is about showing how smart you are. A Sigma knows intelligence is about knowing more than you let on. So when a Sigma male plays dumb, he's not confused, he's not slow, he's setting the stage. And by the time you realize you were the one being studied, manipulated, and outmaneuvered, he's already won. Number 5, they are always 10 steps ahead, and you'll never know it. Most people live in reaction mode. They wait for things to happen, then scramble to respond. They're caught off guard by problems, blindsided by setbacks, and easily thrown off course. But Sigma males, they don't wait for life to happen to them. They engineer it. Sigmas are silent architects of their own futures. While others are distracted, talking about their dreams but taking no action, a Sigma is already executing. Every move he makes is intentional. Every step is calculated. He doesn't make decisions based on emotions or impulse. He maps out the terrain, studies every possible outcome, and adjusts accordingly. This is why they seem untouchable. They're never where you expect them to be. By the time you figure out what they're up to, they've already moved on to the next phase. What makes them terrifying is their unpredictability. You think they're standing still, but in reality, they're building something behind the scenes. You assume they're quiet because they have nothing to say. But in reality, they're absorbing information, analyzing patterns, and preparing their next move. Sigmas don't announce their plans, they don't seek validation or approval, they simply act, and their actions speak louder than any words ever could. This is why you can't manipulate a Sigma. You can't outthink him because he's already thought 10 steps ahead. You can't trap him because he's already identified every escape route. And you definitely can't stop him because while you were busy watching his last move, he was already making his next one. A Sigma male doesn't just navigate life, he orchestrates it. And when you finally realize the extent of his planning, when you see the masterpiece he's quietly built while everyone else was distracted, that's when you understand. You were never playing the same game. And he was always miles ahead. Number 6, they can make people feel irrelevant without saying a word. Most people crave attention, they chase validation, compete for recognition, and measure their worth by how others react to them. They need to be acknowledged, respected, or at the very least, noticed. But Sigma males, they don't play that game, and that's exactly what makes them so unsettling. A Sigma doesn't need to insult you to make you feel small. He doesn't argue, belittle, or try to prove a point. He simply withdraws his attention, and in doing so he exposes a brutal truth. Most people's power only exists if you engage with it. The moment a Sigma stops acknowledging someone, they start questioning their own significance. This is why Sigmas are immune to manipulation. They don't fall for social power plays. They don't react to status games. When someone tries to bait them into an argument or impress them with status, they respond with indifference, no effort, no energy wasted. Just a blank stare, a shift in focus, or worse, nothing at all. And nothing is more humiliating to someone who thrives on validation than realizing they hold no weight in another person's world. It's an unspoken dominance. Most people fight for influence by speaking louder, demanding attention, or forcing their presence. A Sigma does the opposite. He makes his absence feel heavier than anyone else's presence. When he disengages, people notice, they feel it, and deep down they start wondering why his approval matters so much, and that's what truly terrifies them. A Sigma male doesn't just remove attention, he reveals how fragile their sense of importance really is. He doesn't need them. He doesn't crave their validation, and once they realize how powerless they are over his mind, his focus, and his life, it leaves them shaken. Because if they don't matter to him, then maybe, just maybe, they're not as significant as they thought. Number 7, they can destroy someone without ever lifting a finger. Most people believe power comes from force, arguing louder, throwing threats, or physically dominating a situation. But Sigma males, they don't need to raise their voice, throw a punch, or even engage in conflict to dismantle someone. They simply let people destroy themselves. Here's how it works. A Sigma male understands human nature better than most. He knows that insecure people crave reactions, manipulators need control, and egotistical people rely on attention. So instead of giving them what they want, he gives them nothing. No arguments, no validation, no emotional response, just cold, calculated silence. And that silence, it's devastating. When someone tries to provoke a Sigma and gets no reaction, they start unraveling. When they attempt to manipulate him and he doesn't bite, their frustration builds. And when they try to prove their worth, only to be met with complete indifference, it crushes them. Their own weaknesses, insecurities, and desperation become their downfall, while the Sigma simply watches. It's not that a Sigma is heartless or cruel, he just refuses to waste his energy on battles that don't deserve his attention. He knows that most people who try to challenge him are their own worst enemies. They expose their weaknesses with every desperate move, every overreaction, every attempt to prove something. And the Sigma, he just steps aside and lets them dig their own graves. This is why confronting a Sigma is a losing battle. He doesn't fight fire with fire, he lets it burn itself out. He doesn't chase, he doesn't plead, and he definitely doesn't explain himself. By the time his opponent realizes what's happening, it's already too late. They've exhausted themselves, destroyed their credibility, or revealed their true nature, all without him ever lifting a finger. That's the power of a Sigma male. His silence is louder than any threat. His indifference is sharper than any insult, and his ability to let others self-destruct? Chilling. Number 8, they keep their true intentions hidden. Most people can't help but broadcast their plans. They announce their goals, talk about their next big move, and seek validation before they've even made progress. But Sigma males, They operate in complete silence. They don't share their intentions, they don't seek approval, and they definitely don't explain themselves. A Sigma's real power lies in his unpredictability. People can't sabotage what they don't see coming. They can't interfere with what they don't know exists. That's why Sigmas reveal nothing. They work behind the scenes, making moves while the rest of the world is busy talking. And by the time anyone realizes what they've done, it's already too late to stop them. This isn't secrecy out of paranoia, it's strategy. Most people waste energy announcing their ambitions, exposing their weaknesses, and giving others the chance to plant doubts. Sigmas understand that silence is a weapon. When no one knows your next move, no one can block your path. Their ability to keep their true intentions hidden makes them impossible to predict. You might think you understand them, but the reality is, what they've shown you is only what they want you to see. Their real motives, their deepest ambitions, and their long-term plans remain locked away, known only to them. This is why Sigmas appear to move like ghosts. They don't need external recognition. They don't need validation. They don't even need to prove anything. They let their results speak for them, and when they finally reveal what they've been working on, it's not an idea, it's a finished masterpiece. And that's what terrifies people. A Sigma male doesn't warn you before he changes the game. He doesn't announce his dominance. He simply arrives fully prepared with everything already in place. And by then, there's nothing anyone can do about it. Number 9. They can walk away from anyone, no matter how close. Most people stay in relationships longer than they should, whether it's out of obligation, fear of loneliness, or the belief that history should count for something. But a Sigma male, he doesn't operate that way. His emotional attachments are never stronger than his self-respect. And if he senses toxicity, manipulation, or even a subtle attempt to control him, he walks away. No arguments, no drawn-out goodbyes, just gone. And that terrifies people. Why? Because most people assume emotional bonds create unbreakable chains. They think that just because someone has been in their life for years, they will always be there. They assume guilt, nostalgia, or shared experiences will be enough to keep someone from leaving. But Sigmas don't view relationships through that lens. To them, loyalty is earned continuously, not given blindly. This is why people struggle to understand them. A Sigma could be the most loyal, reliable, and present person in your life until you cross a line. Then, without warning, he detaches completely. No drama, no second chances, just silence. It's not that he doesn't feel emotions, it's that he refuses to let them be used against him. He doesn't tolerate emotional blackmail, guilt-tripping, or one-sided loyalty. This ability to disappear from people's lives leaves a lasting impact. Those who thought they had power over him suddenly realize they never did. Those who took him for granted now feel his absence like a missing limb. And those who played games with his trust, they learn the hard way that he never plays twice. A Sigma male doesn't stay in places where he isn't respected. He doesn't hold on to relationships that drain him. And most of all, he doesn't let anyone, no matter how close, keep him trapped in a situation that goes against his values. He doesn't beg, he doesn't explain, he just walks. And the ones left behind, they never see it coming. Number 10, they don't react, they calculate. Most people let emotions dictate their actions. They lash out in anger, panic under pressure, or make impulsive decisions they later regret. But Sigma males, they don't react, they calculate. While others are busy losing control, a Sigma is gathering information, analyzing the situation, and mapping out his next move with precision. When chaos erupts, a Sigma doesn't flinch, he doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't engage in pointless arguments. And he definitely doesn't let emotions cloud his judgment. Instead, he observes, silently, methodically. He watches how people expose their weaknesses when they're emotional. He takes note of their blind spots, their fears, and their poor decisions, and then he uses that information. This ability to stay calm under pressure makes Sigmas almost unsettling to those around them. People expect emotional responses because that's how they operate. They expect to see frustration, excitement, or fear. But when they look at a Sigma and see nothing but cold calculation, it throws them off balance. They start second-guessing themselves, wondering what he's thinking, what he's planning, and why he's so unaffected. And that's the secret. By staying composed, Sigmas control the situation. Emotional people are predictable. They show their hand too soon. They make mistakes because they act without thinking. But a Sigma, he waits. He measures outcomes, he plays the long game, and when he finally makes his move, it's not out of anger or desperation, it's because he's already won. This is why Sigmas are so dangerous. You can't intimidate them, because fear doesn't cloud their thinking. You can't manipulate them, because they don't act on impulse. And you definitely can't predict them, because while you're reacting to the moment, they're already 3 steps ahead. Number 11. They learn from pain instead of running from it. Most people run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, or pretend it doesn't exist. They distract themselves with entertainment, meaningless conversations, or shallow pleasures just to escape discomfort. But Sigma males, they do the exact opposite. They face pain head on. They sit with it, study it, and extract every lesson it has to offer. To a Sigma, pain isn't just something to endure, it's a tool for growth. Every failure, betrayal, and hardship is raw material for self-mastery. When life knocks them down, they don't waste time complaining. They analyze what happened, break it down into pieces, and rebuild themselves stronger than before. This is why they don't fear suffering, because they use it. Most people let pain define them. A failed relationship makes them bitter. A setback crushes their confidence. A loss convinces them to stop trying. But a Sigma? He doesn't let pain weaken him, he lets it sharpen him. He sees suffering as a personal trainer, pushing him beyond his limits, breaking the weak parts of him so that only the strongest remain. And here's what makes this truly terrifying. Sigmas become immune to the things that destroy others. Manipulation doesn't work on them because they've already faced emotional pain and survived. Fear doesn't control them because they've already walked through fire and come out stronger. They don't fold under pressure because they've trained themselves to thrive in it. This resilience makes them nearly impossible to break. You can throw obstacles in their way, but they'll use them as stepping stones. You can try to shake their confidence, but they've already been through worse. You can try to bring them down, but all you'll do is make them stronger. A Sigma male doesn't just survive pain, he transforms because of it. And when you meet a man who has turned every scar into a lesson, every heartbreak into wisdom, and every failure into fuel, you realize there's nothing left in this world that can truly destroy him. The power of being unshakable. A Sigma male isn't terrifying because he's aggressive, loud, or forceful. He's terrifying because he operates on a level most people don't even realize exists. He moves in silence, thinks 10 steps ahead, and refuses to be controlled by emotions, social expectations, or anyone's opinion. He doesn't seek validation, doesn't fear solitude, and most importantly, he never plays by rules that don't serve him. But here's the real truth. This isn't about being feared. It's about being free. The world will always try to mold you, to make you seek approval, to pressure you into compliance, to guilt you into staying in places where you don't belong. But a Sigma male knows that his greatest power is his ability to walk his own path, no matter how many people try to stand in his way. This kind of independence will unsettle people. They won't understand how you can be so unbothered. They'll wonder why you don't react the way they expect, why you refuse to engage in pointless battles, and why their opinions hold no weight over you. Some will admire you, others will resent you, many will try to challenge you. Let them. Because in the end, a Sigma male's strength doesn't come from proving anything to anyone. It comes from mastering himself, from being so solid in who he is that nothing, no person, no setback, no betrayal can shake him. So if you recognize yourself in these traits, understand this: your path will be different. It will be misunderstood. It will be lonely at times, but it will also be yours. And that's something most people will never have the courage to claim. Keep walking, keep evolving. Keep being the force that no one can predict. The world may not always understand you, but it will never forget you. Thank you for watching, Gents, and God bless you.